service providers to supply the physical security, in brackets guarding, services to protect the property, asset and personnel of the City of Tshwane for a period of 3 years with effect from March 2022. Paragraph 18,
Commissioner, I think we do have the names of the companies, the 22 companies on record. Can you then go to paragraph 19?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paragraph 19. I had to oversee the implementation of this tender going forward until such time that the new Deputy Commissioner was appointed to take over. On to the next page, 20, paragraph 20. To reiterate the context of the tender, the above tender for the supply of physical security to protect the property, assets and personnel of the Tshwane Metropolitan Municipality originated from a request to advertise, which is a TAR, T-A-R, a tender issued by Mr. Tsukudu Malachi, Director Protection Services, on 8 July 2016, co-signed by the then Deputy Chief of Police Specialized Services, Mr. R.R. Mashlaule, and approved on 19 July 2016 by the then Chief of Police, K.S. Ngubeni, the late K.S. Ngubeni, may his soul rest in peace. The TAR and specifications are attached as Annexure SB2 to Mr. Revospi's statement, and I need to not attach the same herein. The 21. The background to the tender has been dealt with sufficiently by witness Deputy Revo Spies and Chief Yolanda Faro, which I agree with and do not repeat.
Yes, carry on. Under the topic of uploading of purchase orders between January 2025 and February 2026.
Thank you. Commissioners, paragraph 22 under F. I have come to learn that the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Gareth Menisi, and Deputy Commissioner Umashi Dlamini communicated with each other on 5 March 2025 by sending messages through Sergeant Fani Nkosi in relation to the creation of purchase orders for ad hoc security services. Paragraph 23. The purchase orders created out of this process were registered on the TMPD system only on the following day, 6 March 2025. These included purchase orders for ad hoc services, ostensibly procured from Gubis 85 Solutions Pty Limited, in the aggregate amount of 13,635,133 rand and 60 cents. In brackets, it gives the number without VAT. It's 11,856,638 and 14 cents plus VAT. A spreadsheet listing these purchase orders is attached as Annexure SB3. All of these amounts were paid to Gubis 85 Pty Limited. Paragraph 24. Though these purchase orders were created and loaded on 5 and 6 March 2025, after my acting stint as caretaker of APSS, some of these purchase orders refers to work and services allegedly provided during my tenure as caretaker. 25. I am aware that Commissioner Revo Spies already pointed the obvious skewed allocation of work favouring Gubis 85 Solutions Pty Limited. Paragraph 26. I reiterated that I never gave permission, nor was I aware of such allocation of work to Gubis 85 Solutions Pty Limited during the time in question, and in particular January 2025, February 2025, or to any other company.
Commissioner Bolhais, is that not itself irregular? That purchase orders are only created many months after the work is done? Is the practice not that in order to allocate work to somebody, a purchase order has to be created? Why is it here, for example, that on the 6th of March, you've got purchase orders created and loaded on the system, but the work in some instances was done the previous year in 2024?
Commissioner, I'm not a financial expert, but I'm not 100% sure about that process. I would assume that once the sites have been allocated to a service provider, you would receive an invoice. Then the invoice in the department will go to the financial section. A purchase order would be created, and then I believe it goes to supply chain management, to the buyers to do something, and then payment from the CFO's office.
So the purchase order is created after the invoice?
I'm under correction, but I do think so. I'm not sure.
And isn't that a problem? Because my understanding of procurement is a purchase order is an indication of the goods and services that you would have ordered. And it will give you an indication of how many people, what is the price, and what is going to be deployed. And that prepares you then for when the work is done, the invoice that is issued will match the purchase order. And you verify, so you compare one with the other and you say, these are the goods and services that I've asked for. They were provided, the invoice matches the purchase order, then I can make the payment. But if you get a purchase order after the invoice and many months after the work is done, what service did you procure and what did you use to procure the service?
I see your sentiment there, Commissioner. We have to also keep in mind that this is an approved contract, approved service providers, and ad hoc services were then allocated to a service provider, in this case seemingly irregular, but let's say for argument's sake it wasn't, and in an approved contract with an approved budget, and then it's invoiced, and then it goes to the department financial section for the further processing, and that includes the purchase order. But as I say, I'm not in a position to speak on finances that much. The CFO will be able to clarify that in detail, and even Deputy Commissioner Dlamini, who's in charge of our financial, overall in charge of the financial section in the department.
But it worries me because you say at some point before the process was changed, you were responsible for co-signing invoices after Director Malachi had approved them.
Yes.
So if you are not aware of the process and we need to get answers from the CFO, it worries me because it means that people who are approving and co-signing invoices running into millions, I mean, this is 13.6 million, are not aware what the process is, and they are just signing and people are being paid public funds without understanding the process. It's a concern for me.
Noted.
Commissioner Bolhais, are you then saying in response to the question by Commissioner Kumalo, as, and I use the word loosely, as the head of the department, as the APSS unit, you played no role? Or what role did you play? Let me put that, what role did you play when ultimately it comes to the processing and the payments of the service rendered, especially on the ad hoc basis?
Yes, once the operational part is concluded, let's say documents are provided, invoices are generated from the service provider, and it comes through APSS. It goes to the financial section within the department. Once it's there, I do not play another role there. There is a financial process that they follow that has to be in line with the MFMA supply chain management procedures of the city, etc., etc. So I don't play a role how it's put on the system. We as a city use a SAP system. I don't play a role how it moves from the finance section to supply chain management, and I don't play a role how it moves from supply chain management to the CFO and his office for actual payment. I can, as a senior official, make inquiries about late payments, why this has not been done, was all invoices submitted, those kind of things, but not physically part of that financial process.
I know you say somewhat further on in the statement that you had no involvement, you were not informed about the allocation of these
Yes,
ad hoc
I wasn't.
sites. Your internal operating procedures, they don't require that you should be informed when there's a request for ad hoc services so that you can approve, or even it's just for noting. Don't your operating procedures require that?
It is required. It's not a written down standing operating procedure SOP. Well, it should be, but it wasn't at that stage. But as mentioned before in some other remarks I made earlier, is when there's an operational impact, financial impact, and contract impact, I must, as the head, as the overseer of APSS, I must be informed. Because although Director Malachi runs that unit or section division, he runs it basically in totality, day-to-day running, managing the contract. If it starts affecting the budget, he doesn't sit in the top management budget meeting between the deputy chiefs and the chief of police to determine what the status is of the budget, the expenditure, what we must do with upliftment of funds, what we must do with the adjustment budget, etc. So it was clear in our communications, in our meetings, in the way we worked, that this information should have come to my office, because prior in 2024, once again, Klipgat is a very good example. We were informed, I was informed about the ad hoc requirements. It was looked into, it was investigated, it was allocated, funds were made available for that. Whether there was good planning or not, that's another matter. That's the internal issues of a municipality. So there's no ways that the management of APSS could have thought there's no need for the head, the overseer, the deputy chief, not to inform him about these ad hoc services, which will have a severe effect on our budget and operational implications. So yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, just maybe let me understand it from a different angle. It is correct that you wouldn't, as part of your job, be involved in confirming that the actual warm bodies were actually placed by service providers as per invoice. That would not be part of your job.
Definitely not. That would be part and parcel of the management and instructions by Director Malachi. And I did mention it earlier as well about the mid-level people that were supposed to go and check up on the service